Hi, everyone. In the driver's seat today, we have with us Mike Barrington, Senior Vice President of Cox Automotive e-commerce. Mike brings more than 30 years experience in finance and business. Before joining Cox Automotive in 2015, he co-founded Six Gear Inc. in 2008, was a founding board member of DealerTrack in 2001, and of the AmeriCredit Corporation leadership team in 1991. Mike is at the helm of Cox Automotive's Essential Commerce, the automotive industry's first fully automated e-commerce platform. He joins us today from New Hampshire. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks so much. It's great to be with you, Emma.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So you've had a great vantage point to watch how automotive finance has evolved over the past 3 decades. Could you reflect on that for us?
Sure, happy to. There's an adage that the past predicts the future. One thing I know for sure is the technological advancements and automation we've seen transform other retail industries. I believe they're here to stay in automotive. More than 20 years ago, we began to see innovation within financing that has become the foundation of the modern car buying experience we all know today. The creation of lender networks allowed online credit applications to displace the trusted fax machine, which improved response times and processing accuracy. While I know that was a long time ago, it showed us that automation is key for driving change. For years, lenders have relied on predictive modeling to set parameters for loan decisioning. And now, automation is being used by automotive retailers to shift resources away from routine financing, title, and registration tasks so they can be put toward higher value, more productive activities. As we move ahead, as consumers' comfort with online car buying accelerates, auto retailers will need more efficient operations. And that's when automotive e-commerce is going to be increasingly important, not only to offer it, but to do it really well.
So what does it mean to do automotive e-commerce well?
Great question. First, I'd like to be clear on the difference between automotive e-commerce and what's commonly referred to as digital retailing. They're often viewed as synonymous, but they're not. The key difference is that e-commerce is driven by automation. It uses machine learning and data intelligence to deliver a fully online end-to-end purchase experience. So what I'm talking about today is true automotive e-commerce. It's a quantum leap forward for our industry and represents a huge area of potential growth. If you think for a moment about the complexity of a vehicle purchase, which commonly involves a trade-in and financing, two things that other e-commerce transactions like buying a toaster on Amazon don't involve. From my perspective, doing automotive e-commerce well starts with building a frictionless, consumer-focused purchase experience. Automation simply removes complexity and friction from the car buying process and opens up more choices for consumers and more opportunities for retailers to reach and sell to new markets.
Yeah. So speaking about retailers, why don't we talk about retailers for a moment? A good portion of dealerships have resisted the e-commerce model, or at least felt it was a long way off. Do you think that's changed?
I do think it's changed. Retailers recognize giving consumers what they want is good for business. Cox Automotive's latest consumer research reveals that about 80% of consumers are open to purchase completely online. In our new digital shopper segmentation study, we determined that approximately 45% of car shoppers are digitally fluent and most likely to buy online now. These consumers are comprised primarily of Gen Z and millennials. The shift is moving towards fully online purchasing, and these generations will continue to drive digital adoption, we believe. The good news is that 78% of franchise dealers are willing to change dealership processes to meet consumer expectations. And we've seen consumer satisfaction scores and feedback remain very high with more of the process online.
Right. So would you say the biggest improvements for retailers and consumers are a result of the recent advances in technology?
I would. I think there are three big ones. The first is automation. Automation itself, which creates efficiencies for training machine learning models. with the deal records and data that retailers already have. These machines learn to predict interest rates with the highest likelihood of consumer acceptance while maximizing retailer profitability and deal liquidity. AI models can also determine the right aftermarket products based on vehicle details, deal structure, geospecific data, which helps increase aftermarket product attachment and profitability. I think the second is speed. Technology eliminates time-consuming labor from many of the F&I activities that it takes to complete a deal. And I think third is automated fraud preventative safeguards, such as multi-factor authentication and facial recognition, which help ensure the identity and validity of the consumer buying the car. When you add it all up, a true automated e-commerce solution can submit a completed, signed, accurate contract package that is ready for funding, and the car deal is done successfully. We know change is hard, but when you consider all the benefits, automated e-commerce is something automotive retailers can't afford not to do.
Right. So going back to what you said earlier, Mike, about how the past predicts the future, as we near the end of our discussion, can you tell us what's on the horizon for the automotive industry?
Sure. I've been in the industry a little more than 30 years, and I've seen that every time we take a step forward toward the future, we unlock consumer benefits and improve retailer efficiencies. When you consider the potential of automated e-commerce, I see an era of great transformation for automotive retail. We'll be able to broaden retailers' geographic reach, boost profit opportunities, and increase personalization, which will mean greater likelihood of sales success with the greatest possible consumer satisfaction. For me and the team at Cox Automotive, we're focused on being that trusted partner, creating a space where buyers, sellers, lenders, OEMs, and emerging technology companies all come together to drive greater consumer satisfaction and better business outcomes. While most economists are indicating the next 12 to 24 months could remain volatile, scaling a retailer's business with solutions designed to meet the demands of the marketplace now and into the future requires not only technology, but also a trusted partner, which we want to be.
Well, Cox is definitely a trusted partner. This is so exciting, Mike. It's been great having you with us today. So it's a tradition to close out each episode with our 0 to 60 challenge. Over the next 60 seconds, we'd like to give our viewers a chance to get to know you a little better. So are you ready for the challenge?
I'm ready.
Okay. Question number 1. What was the first job you ever had?
So I grew up on a farm in Oklahoma, and I was in the 4-H club. And my 4-H project was raising chickens. And my first job, starting at about maybe the 6th grade, was selling eggs door to door in the town where I grew up. And it was a great job. Fast forward, I was able to buy my first car. I even won the National 4-H Poultry Award for my project, and got to hang out with Colonel Sanders and got a scholarship from him to help me go to college.
Wow. So Colonel Sanders, and boy, that's a lot of eggs to be able to buy your first.
It was a lot of eggs. It was a lot of
pretty good eggs. Okay. Question number 2. If you could have one business meeting with anyone, past or present, who would it be?
Oh, such a good question. I've worked with so many amazing people and met more. I think I would say I would want to assemble a room full of people that I've had the opportunity to work with and for in my career.
Question number 3. Who is the most important mentor in your career?
Another great question. So in my first entrepreneurial endeavor, after leaving a career in banking, I worked for a very successful entrepreneur who on my first day on the job handed me a note written on a yellow pad with a number 2 pencil. And it said, "Never give up your right to be wrong." It went on to say that you can never be a great entrepreneur if you're afraid to take risk. The best advice I've ever been given.
It's great advice, and it's so true. Well, thanks again, Mike, and we will see you all next time for In the Driver's Seat.